How'd I do?
You did great, of course. Next up is Nonprofit Insider.
Driving, music's blaring in my ears. Engines roaring, the horizon's drawing near. Pedal to the floor, no more feet in the door. Gonna drive right out of this bitter night. I'm a constant seeker in converse.
Welcome to Nonprofit Insider. My name is David Unger, and I'm pleased to be hosting a show with the executive directors and key people of local nonprofits. I've worked in the nonprofit world for over 30 years, and in those years, I've realized that the majority of the community does not know about the organizations that provide critical services and benefits to our community that we sometimes take for granted. This is a chance to hear about the organizations that touch so many in our community. The opinions expressed on Nonprofit Insider are not necessarily those of WMPG, its staff and underwriters, or of USM. So we have kind of an interesting show today, which was very unexpected. We had a guest lined up, and she called me last Monday and said she fell on the ice and broke her kneecap, and that she was going to have surgery yesterday. And I said, well, the show's on Friday. What's the problem? She didn't laugh.
Smooth.
She didn't think it was that funny. But so we did find a substitute. And the substitute called me at 10 this morning and said, I have a terrible head cold.
Oh, no.
Come in.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So you got me and Deb today.
Woohoo! Together again.
Yes. So we're going to do a couple of unusual things. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. Should we? I don't think I've even told Jim, our station manager, this, but we're going to do a micro begathon today.
Oh, fun.
So seriously, it is the holiday season, and a lot of people are opening up their checkbooks and giving to their favorite organization. And WMPG is here for you, and you are here for WMPG. So
Always. You guys are always here for us.
And we actually have someone manning the phone lines if you want to call in and make a pledge at 874-3000, or you can donate online or send in a check to WMPG.
We'd love it if you could. This is something that David thought up all on his own.
Well, I am a professional fundraiser.
He is a professional fundraiser. He's working on getting me a RAV4 as we speak. But so if you get a some kind of grant from me, that's really David working on that for me.
Okay.
But we would love it if you could support us, just a little something
to celebrate the holiday season with us.
December. Happy December.
Right. And the other thing we're going to do today is we were able to hijack Dale Robin, and I got the key to the T-shirt. And we have two special trivia questions today.
Oh, no.
So we will take call-ins for the trivia questions.
Oh, my. I can't participate, right?
No, you cannot participate.
Geez. Darn, I love those T-shirts.
And we have to give them away quickly so we can untie Dale Robin before she locks the door.
Yeah, so we love her so. So 874-3000. If you're anywhere near a telephone, we'd love it if you could call.
All right, and we're going to give you a different phone number right now of 780-4909 if you want to answer the trivia question or to call in with any questions to ask the consultant today. I'll be more than happy to share my limited information and knowledge base with any individual or nonprofit that wants to ask me a question.
You said that without blushing, too.
All right, so the first trivia question. I love this one. Why do firehouses have circular staircases?
Oh.
Why do firehouses have circular staircases? And the
That's a great
second one is, what is the average lifespan in pitches of a Major League Baseball? So we will take calls at 780-4909 for those answers. And the first one who gets either or both will get a WMPG limited edition T-shirt.
Wow.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. So let's be serious here for a minute, Deb. Now you're laughing. But I've added a new question to our repertoire of questions here that we've asked every executive director right after the election. And if you remember, we had all three gubernatorial candidates lined up to come and be part of our show, and only one who actually did come in. We had several cancellations from
Right.
the other two. And right after the election, Governor LePage made the statement that Maine nonprofits don't pay their fair share and that they are takers, not givers. I'm mixed about that, believe it or not.
Mixed?
I'm mixed.
How can you be mixed about that? I mean, that
Well-
just blows my mind.
Yeah, but if you think about it like in the context of just the way it was that I quoted it from the paper, okay, I could understand why people would be upset. But the question that I would bring up, are there nonprofits who do take advantage of the system? And one of the things that I wanted to talk with the other two candidates, and L.A. Cutler did bring it up, was the concept of payment in lieu of taxes. So you have nonprofits who use city services or on city or whatever community real estate they're in, take advantage of fire, police, ambulance. Should they pay some sort of payment in lieu of taxes as a contribution back for those services?
I thought colleges do that a lot. I know Harvard
But do you know
does
why?
that. Harvard does it down in Cambridge and MIT. I'm from
Right.
Cambridge, so those are the first two. I don't know if they do it up here or not. But they throw some money into the coffers.
Right. And that's a way of looking at this. So it's not totally in context for what this says, but it's an overall picture of that some nonprofits take advantage of the system. Like the NFL, that should not be a nonprofit.
No, that when I had no idea. I had no idea that was a nonprofit to that last scandal.
Right. I mean,
I don't get it.
and they pay no taxes.
Right.
And, they're making millions and millions, or could even be billions of dollars.
But that's on the federal level. That's not in Maine. Is there anything in Maine like that?
I don't think so. Maybe the roller derbies.
The nonprofit roller derby.
But no, seriously, there should be, and again, this is my opinion and my opinion alone, that there should be some sort of payment in lieu of taxes to cover those services. So if an organization shows up a couple blocks from my house, and I'm just using this as an example, I'm not picking on it, but if a senior center would open up and there's a high relevance of ambulance calls to that, should the community pick up those costs, or should that senior center or whatever the organization is have some responsibility in paying some of those costs? I'd love to hear the viewers' response to this. So 780-4909.
Also for the trivia question too, but well, I don't know how to answer that myself. You're making me think. You're making me think. I know it's really painful. You're making me think a lot. When immediately I think of people who are organizations that are not paying taxes that I would like to see them pay taxes. It's another way to take it. And the opinion expressed here is just mine, not Nonprofit Insider or anybody else.
A lot of disclaimers.
A lot of disclaimers. Yeah, are the churches? I don't understand why they're
in the medical communities. So one of the things with the medical community is that the doctor's offices are located sometimes on the campuses of the hospitals and the medical communities. And those are all tax exempt properties that we are paying for while the doctors, et cetera, make some profit on it. So it's a fine balance. And we as community members have to support that kind of endeavor. It's a fine line, because the hospitals and the religious organizations that are sometimes in question do provide critical services to our community, and they have a good reason to be nonprofit. Yeah. But if you look at what a nonprofit is, they have profit centers, we call them. So they have to generate some income, and that's how they do it. But should part of that be taxable? And that's a tough question. And we're getting quite a lot of calls coming in. This is great.
Great.
Okay.
That's great. Do you want me to use your name?
All right. So I think we're getting ready for... And Deb's excited about this one.
Okay, so I'll just say you're Charles from Shapley. How's that?
Okay, we got a call from Shapley. Is this a good question?
Well, actually, it's another subject matter expert like yourself. Charles and Shapley said that if we look at Maine.gov under property taxes, that there is a provision for municipalities can charge some taxes to, or some fees and so forth to nonprofits in their communities.
But how many are taking advantage of it?
Well, that's another question.
Well, thank you, Charles.
But that's, he said just go look at Maine.gov property tax, and that would be a good place to check it out. So there is a provision. Somehow we didn't know that, but there it is. Thank you, Charles.
And even though the provision's there, should it be there? I mean, that's the crux of the question. It's a philosophical question as to whether nonprofits should be charged property taxes.
Yeah, like it makes a certain amount of sense because we're especially in Maine here we have our property our home our base for taxes is the homeowner. So,
right.
So speaking as a homeowner,
right.
It would be nice to have that. But then again, nonprofits do so much work that nobody else does.
Right. So 2 updates of a couple of our past guests. I got an email from the Maine Maritime Museum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
It was. But she just announced that she's looking for a new development director, and she just posted the ad. So she was wondering if, we knew of anybody who was looking for a full-time position as a development director.
What? Well, I'll get that number off.
Then you can go get your own RAV4. Right?
I can get my own RAV4. I don't have to wait for David to get me a grant.
And don't forget our micro begathon. 874-3000. Send WMPG a holiday gift.
Yeah, we'd love it. Hey, it's the halfway mark.
It's the halfway mark. So we had our trivia question.
Do you want to ask them again?
I will ask the trivia question again. Why do firehouses have circular staircases? This one blew me away. And then, what is the average lifespan in pitches of Major League Baseball?
Jeez.
Of a Major League Baseball, the baseball itself.
Yeah, the baseball itself. Wow. Gosh. Do you do anything else in between shows besides look up these trivia questions?
I should be.
These are good ones. Ooh.
And I actually Googled useless trivia. And these where I got these 2 questions.
Okay. All right. There you go.
So now we're at our midpoint. This is WMPG 90.9 and 104.1 FM community radio of Southern Maine and Eastern New Hampshire. And today's guests are Deb and myself.
Doo-da, doo-da. You had another announcement from another past guest.
Yeah, but before we do that,
yeah.
We talk about our music at the end of the show is always done by Mike Hubbard. And we really haven't given Mike a real good shot or credit at playing a full song. So why don't we take a couple minute break and listen to a little bit of Mike Hubbard.
And in the meantime, you can call 874-3000 and give us a little love. We'd love it.
Or call 780-4909 and give us an answer to the trivia question or any other question you might have.
Curly blonde mop top exploding from the leaves, a hopeful pair of big blue eyes, a grin with no front teeth. Whenever I come home I see this picture on my shelf, and I find that I start talking to my miniature self. Good to see you here again. Are you still collecting lightning bugs, rocks, and Dad's old pens? Still laughing when the wind blows the hat right off your head? And do you still dream of outer space when you slowly climb into your bed? When you grow up, you'll see the world is not the same. 5 years old and everything's new. When I grow up, I want to be just like you. I'm a little sore. The little things like bugs and dreams don't impress me anymore. Just the other day, my hat was blown right off my head, and I didn't laugh, I didn't grin, I just screamed and cursed instead. When you grow up, you'll see the world is not the same. 5 years old and everything's new. When I grow up, I wanna be just like you. This faded picture on my shelf reminds me every single time that when I went off on my own, I left far too much behind. When you grow up, you'll see the world is not the same. 5 years old and everything's new. When I grow up, I wanna be just like when you grow up. You'll see the world is not the same. 5 years old and everything's new. When I grow up, I wanna be just like you.
He's got a great voice.
He does.
How did you find him?
If I told you, you're going to laugh and you won't believe it.
Well, you don't want me to laugh, so.
I've known Michael since he was in diapers.
Really? Really? Well,
And we've been able to watch his career really grow. And he's doing his first headline in New York City in a couple weeks. So
I love the line about the Converse sneakers. I mean, that is just perfect. That is just
but that's
perfect.
him. That's him.
Well, it's great. It's good stuff. Good
Good.
music.
So if you want to hear more about Mike, you can go to michaelhubbardmusic.com and check it out a little bit. So another update. You brought me in one of the local community newspapers, American Journal.
Yeah, it's a Westbrook paper.
And one of the headlines is Grant helps teen center pay off mortgage. And that was the teen center where Donna Dreyer was in a couple weeks ago. And she was telling us that she applied for it, and it seems like she got it.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
It is. It is.
So tell me a little bit about grant writing and all that. We were teasing a little bit about it at the beginning of the show, but tell me how does that all work?
Well, it's, in my opinion, grant writing is getting harder and harder and harder. Okay, there's more organization applying for the funds. The funders are becoming, and again, this is my opinion, a little more specific about what they're funding. The timing of applying for funding is much harder, and you have to think through a lot differently about the process. But it comes down to being able to tell your story. Okay, what is the story of the organization that that you're trying to raise the money for? When I begin talking with a new client and they say, well, we're going to raise all this money on grants, I use the formula that 60% of the funds should be raised from individual donations, 20% from events and activities, and 20% from grants. If anything above that 20% from grants that you're budgeting for, I think it's a fairly high risk.
Why is that?
Because there's a lot of time and resources that have to be put into applying for funds, and to do that, it costs money, and you're not guaranteed any of that. I just submitted a grant for a client this week. It was a $10,000 grant, and probably a significant amount of my time. The person who's helping me do this put in a significant amount of time, plus the organization itself. So you have to assume that if you don't get the grant, that money's, those times and resources are going to be gone.
Right.
You've had some experience writing grants, too.
Oh, yeah, a lot of experience, actually, writing grants. I always think of it as writing, as advertising in a bizarre way. I'm advertising with the hope of getting the sale, and the sale being the grant.
It's begging.
Yeah, it is. It's really begging. Is. But, I love to, especially if I have a feeling about the organization, and I almost always do, that's part of the appeal for me, is that I can, I can get to express that in the grant, even if I have to chain my writing into this. I get to, at least fueled by my affection for the organization. And, part of the reason I like it. Plus, it's interesting trying to figure out what they want on the other side. Who's going to be reading this,
Right?
And what do they want?
And the key is you try and get in to meet with them beforehand, so you get that sense. And a lot of funders won't do that.
Right.
Just send it in. I mean, you have to understand how many grants requests come across their plate. And, I'm not saying that in a minimal way, but, it's a very competitive process. And what's even harder in Maine is, for a lot of different reasons, we have a very small amount of funding sources compared to other states. So,
and a large number of nonprofits.
And we have a disproportionate number of nonprofits in our state for the number of people and activities that we have. So it's a tough one. There's no question about that. But when you do get the grant, it is a wonderful feeling.
Well, like our friends there in Westbrook who got their mortgage paid off.
Right.
Amazing.
So now they have that money towards operations and to give back to programs and, to give back to the community. So, it's like buying a house and selling a house. You can have as many open houses as you want, but all it takes is one person to buy the house.
Right.
And, but when you create a strategic plan and your development plan, they really need to be in sync with each other. So you know how you're going to fund your strategic goals. And I've said this, in conversation with other guests, that there's so many times that I see this when I begin working with a client about not having those goals mesh with each other. And it's tough because, you're projecting out what you think you're going to need.
Yeah, that's true too. That's the hard part. It's like, when you underestimate there, you have to do a bake sale, right quick.
Right. You know how many cookies it takes to pay off a mortgage?
Well, that's how we ended the Vietnam War. A lot of bake sales.
Well, nobody has guessed our trivia question.
No, I'm at a stand. I haven't got a clue.
All right, let's start with the easy one first.
Which is?
What is the average lifespan in pitches of a Major League Baseball?
Well, they go pretty fast, like 110 miles per hour.
No. How many pitches does a baseball last?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Is that if they go really fast, maybe the wear on them, the friction of the air, is...
Or getting hit out of the park or a foul ball.
Yeah, exactly. All that. So maybe 2?
7.
7. Wow.
7. No one won the T-shirt on that one?
No T-shirt for me in that one.
Oh, we have a caller.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
And the second one is... Why do firehouses have circular staircases? This one blew me out of the water. The reason firehouses have circular... I'm going to maybe hum along here because someone may have the answer to our trivia question. Do, 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 do.
Brilliant.
Do, 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 do.
Let me just tell him that. Can you hold on a moment? Okay.
Do we have an answer?
We do.
And the answer is?
Our caller says that the horses wouldn't go up the circular stairs.
Oh, we have a winner.
You are a winner. Thank you so much.
And Deb will get your address and name, and we'll get a T-shirt out to you.
Well, you know what? We would love to talk to you about that, but we're running out of time.
What's the question?
2 more minutes.
What's the question?
2 more minutes.
Okay. All right. So the reason that firehouses have circular stairs is because horses used to be stabled downstairs, and they learned how to walk up the straight staircase. Can you imagine sleeping and all of a sudden your horse is right there with you? Oh, well. Well, thanks for all the calls and everything else and the questions that have come in. And, but, and we still have time for our micro begathon, 874-3000. So that was great.
Oh, honestly, and it's too bad we ran out of time. We need another hour because the winner there wanted to talk about taxes and nonprofits in relation to taxes and all that stuff. So maybe we should do the show again. What do you think?
I don't know if the listeners want to hear us again.
Well, maybe we should get somebody who knows what they're talking about.
There you go. Well, actually, we do have a show on January 2nd. I believe that's the date where we're bringing in a panel of nonprofit consultants to talk specifically and bluntly about their perception in the nonprofit world, so you're not always hearing mine, and to get a sense as to what we can do to help the nonprofit community grow and thrive.
Oh, that half hour is going to go by right fast.
Right. And, if we need to, we'll just keep rolling on to record the next half hour and keep the conversation going and play it at a later date.
Oh, that's going to be wonderful.
What do you think about that?
I think that's going to be great. So who else do we have coming up in the new year?
Oh, who do we have coming up? We have next week, we have Carol Leone from Teens to Trails. Ann Roosevelt the week after that she's the CEO of Goodwill Industries of Northern New England.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so we have Eric Meyer from Spurwing coming up shortly.
Wonderful.
Mark Swan from Preble Street. You caught me without my list today.
That's great. That's a lot to look forward to in the new year. And you've been doing this show now for 9 months?
Yes, since
just about
April.
9 months. So what do you think?
And you're the cause of this.
Well, what do you think?
I'm having a good time. The guests have enjoyed it. It's been great to meet a lot of people, and the key is the listeners.
Right.
If hopefully you're enjoying this and you're picking up at least some useless trivia out of this every week.
It's a great show. I love meeting all these different people, and I love the fact that we live in such a great state with so many nonprofits and so many good people doing so much good work, including WMPG 874-3000.
And that's it. And people stop me on the street and thank me, and it's been really a great experience. So thank you, everybody, and we're going to be recorded for the next couple weeks, so hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season.
You too, David.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The music appears courtesy of Mike Hubbard. You can find Mike's music on www.michaelhubbardmusic.com. Check out Mike's website to see where he's playing this weekend. Thanks to Deb Danger, NPI's executive engineer. You can catch Deb on Morning Street Fridays at 6:30. If you know of a nonprofit that should be on the show, please email me at npi@davidunger.net. Past shows are archived at www.tcmgr.com NP Insider tab.